The teachings of Rabbi Ephraim Sprecher, Dean of Students at Diaspora Yeshiva on Mount Zion, Jerusalem.
Today we're going to speak about, can one give up his life to save somebody else? We had the story a few weeks ago in California with this lady, Lori Kay. Remember Abraham? She jumped in front of the rabbi and she took the bullet and she let herself be killed to save the rabbi. Is that according to a halacha? Well, we know that Benjamin mentioned the famous Gemara in Bava Metzia, page 62. Two people are walking in a desert, and one of them has a canteen of water, right? Yeah. If they both drink, they'll both die. But the guy who owns the canteen, if he drinks it and doesn't share it, he will what? Survive. So what's the halacha? Bava Metzia, page 62, Rabbi Kiva says, Chayecha what?
He has to drink.
Your life comes first. The Torah teaches that it's not your life to give up. That you're supposed to, if it's your canteen of water, you're supposed to what? Drink it and survive, and you're not permitted to share it. That's very hard to understand. You want to share it, but if you share it, if there's enough water, Chava, for both, of course you should share it. But if there isn't enough, if you share it, what's going to happen? Both will die. Then the halacha says you're not permitted to share it. You have to drink it because your life comes first. So the question is, what about Lori Kay? Right, Abram, why? She jumped in front of the rabbi. She took the bullet.
When was this?
This was a couple of weeks ago in San Diego. You don't read the papers?
The Chabad house.
In the Chabad house, there was an attack in the Chabad house in San Diego. Poway, California.
It's part of San Diego.
Remember, Larry? And she jumped in front of the rabbi. She took the bullet. And she got killed, and the rabbi survived. So the question is that did she do halachically correct? According to the Talmud Bava Metzia 62, it looks like she did not do the correct thing. What? But it's not so simple, Benjamin. It's not so simple because what about the IDF? Doesn't the IDF sacrifice themselves for us all the time? In fact, the Minchas Chinuch asked the question, and we know that the greatest mitzvah in the Torah is what? Staying alive. Staying alive. Rabbi Chai Bahem, if your life is in danger, we'll see soon on the source sheets, then you're supposed to what? Transgress all the mitzvahs to stay alive except three. What are the three exceptions? Idolatry, murder, and what? And adultery, right? But all the other mitzvah Torah, if your life is in danger, the Torah says you're supposed to transgress to survive. So you're not allowed to give up your life, except for the three cardinal sins of idolatry, adultery, and what? Murder. So the question the Minchas Chinuch asks is how is there an Israeli army? How is there an army? You're risking your life. You're letting yourself be killed to save somebody else. You're not allowed to put yourself in danger to save somebody else. How do you have the whole concept of IDF, right, Benjamin? In the Lebanon war, a terrorist threw a grenade and Major Roy Klein jumped on the grenade. He killed himself in order to save his platoon. He smothered the grenade with his own body, Major Roy Klein, Shem Yocham Damo, to save his platoon. Did he do correct? If you say that your life comes first, that I have to drink the canteen and not share it, because if I share it, we're both going to die, and my life comes first, did Major Roy Klein do right? And what about Lori Kay? So that's the question we have to discuss. Unfortunately, in Jewish law, this has come up many, many times. So the Minchas Chinuch, he points out, he asked the question, how could there be a mitzvah, it's actually one of the mitzvahs in the Torah, to go fight for the land of Israel and the people. It's actually a mitzvah in the Torah. You're supposed to give your life to defend the people of Israel and the land of Israel. How could there be such a mitzvah, Raphael, when it goes against v'chai b'hem, v'lo shiyamos b'hem, that you're supposed to what? Live at all costs. How could you put yourself in danger? To join the army is actually a mitzvah, mechemet mitzvah. We would call that holy war. They got everything from us. There's a mechemet mitzvah to join in the IDF. The Rabbi of Chabad said that anyone who joins the IDF is doing mechemet mitzvah 24/7. Any soldier in the IDF is doing a holy war, a mitzvah. Yehuda, which mitzvah is it? I'm glad you asked me. Which mitzvah is it? It's mitzvah Tov Chav Hey. Mitzvah 425 in the Sefer HaMitzvot. You can look it up. There's a mechemet mitzvah to go and fight for the land of Israel and the people of Israel against terrorists. So, but doesn't that go against the principle that what? Staying alive. So Minchas Chinuch answered that the principle to stay alive, that you're not allowed to give up your life to save somebody else, that's a civilian in peacetime. A civilian in peacetime, his life comes first. A civilian in peacetime, my life comes first. The Torah says it's not your life to give up. Hashem gave life. He takes it. If it's my canteen of water, it's not a war situation. I'm a civilian in peacetime. The halacha says that I have to drink the water because it's my water and it's not his water. I'm not killing him. Right? He doesn't have the water. If I share it, we'll both die. I'm not allowed to do that. But in a war situation, when you're a fighter in a war, then it's all about giving your life, what? To save others. So therefore, when you join the IDF, it's all about saving others, then it's a holy war. So the question is, what about Lori Kay? We're all fighting a war on terror now, right, David? I mean, we're all on the front lines of terror. Perhaps we're all soldiers, Benjamin. Perhaps we're all soldiers in the war against terror, and perhaps Lori Kay has a din like what? Like one of these IDF soldiers who sacrificed their life to save others. Right? She was a soldier on the war of terror. We're all on the front lines now. And in such a case, it will be permitted, perhaps, to take the bullet for somebody. But it's not so simple. We'll see. We'll get to the sources soon, yes?
But it's like, what is I know like Judaism is all for protecting and saving lives.
Right.
For example, let's say right now the situation is Hamas and Islamic Jihad said they're going to attack again if Israel doesn't do such and such and such. So Israel might say, hey, we're not doing that. So now they're going to attack. So do we send our boys and put their lives at risk? Or do we bomb even though there's innocent civilians in Gaza?
That's a very good question.
Terrorists.
That's a very good question.
What's the halakha?
We're going to get to it. I'm glad you asked. Do you have a source sheet? You that can give David a source sheet, then we'll get to it. Yes.
The case of Lori Kay.
What?
The case of Lori Kay, the fact that it was the rabbi of the congregation, does that change the equation at all? No. But
No one can put a value on human life. We'll see soon. We'll see soon.
what if when they bring
Right?
the front to
Every life is equally precious to God. Every human life is equally. Just because he's a rabbi, we'll see soon. Does that mean his blood is redder than your blood? Just because he's a rabbi? We're going to get there. We'll talk. Not so simple, right?
the point being that he's the leader of this kehillah.
So what? Who say one human life is more precious than another? We'll see that it's not so simple, right?
Yeah, it would seem that the fact that this terrorist brought the front to the synagogue is a big deal.
The Chav is saying that the terrorists brought the front to the synagogue. So Lori Kay now is like a soldier in the Israeli army. And being in the army, says the Minchas Chinuch, it's all about risking your life to save others. When the Torah forbids us to give up our lives to save others, Avram, that's a civilian in peacetime. But now we're all, as Chava said, we're all no longer civilians. We're all on the front line against the war on terror. And to be a soldier in the war of terror, it's all about giving your life to save others. But let's see what the sources say about this. If you go to your source sheet, please. Source number 1. May one sacrifice one life to save others?
Thank you.
Can one give up his life to save others? That's the question that we'll have to deal with. If you look at source number 1. Avram, you have the paper? Source number 1? So this is from the Rambam, Hilchos Yesod HaTorah. Should I read it in Hebrew or in English? English. The source number 1, okay? The great Maimonides. Unfortunately, Jewish law has to deal with this. Throughout the centuries, our tragic latent history, we have all of these, Yosef, these problems, these terrible dilemmas that came up. So what is to happen when an idolater forced a Jew to transgress one of the commandments of the Torah or be killed? Puts a gun to your head that says, eat pig or I'll kill you. Be mechalel Shabbat or I'll kill you. What has happened if an idolater or anyone forced a Jew to transgress one of the mitzvahs of the Torah, eat pig or I'll kill you. Transgress the Shabbos, eat on Yom Kippur, I'll kill you. So what is the halacha, Avram? Be a hero? No, you should transgress.
If he's a crazy one.
What? What many
He's a
crazy
crazy
one?
one
Someone
by
forces
himself.
you to transgress any mitzvah in the Torah, or I'll kill you. So the halacha is what? What's the halacha? You have to transgress and live. Because it says, the mitzvahs which a person does, he shall live by them. He shall live by the Torah, but he shall not die by them. And if he wants to be a hero, and he chooses to be killed, no, I'm not going to eat the ham sandwich. Let him kill me. Is he a hero? He's guilty of taking his own life. You can't be a hero when you're not allowed to be a hero, Avram. So if he says, be Mechal Shabbos or kill you, he says, no, I'm never Mechal Shabbos, not going to start now. And he lets himself be killed. He's not a hero. He is guilty for his own life. He's like committed suicide. He'll have to give a din v'cheshbon to God when he was what? The halacha says in such a situation, staying alive. Avram, greatest mitzvah, chai b'hem. This is only regular sin. All the other sins of the Torah, right? Not eating kosher, desecrating the Shabbos, any other sins. But when the three exceptions, Avram, what are the three exceptions? Source number one, I think it's in English. Idolatry, adultery, and bloodshed. Regarding these three, if one says transgress one of them or I will kill you, in such a case a person what? Avram? Bite the bullet and not transgress. Because to commit one of these cardinal sins, life, Benjamin, would not be worth living. To commit one of these cardinal sins, life would not be worth living. So those are the three exceptions. What are the three exceptions, Avram? One of them is murder. If one says, you kill A or I'll kill you, are you allowed to kill A? No. No. Why not? If my life comes first, Larry, didn't we say that my life comes first? Why can't I kill others, stay alive?
No.
Rashi asked that question. If I have the canteen of water and I have to drink it and not give it to him, so why can I not kill him to stay alive? If my life comes first. You hear the question that Rashi asked in Tractates and Hedron on page 72. You hear the question? Why can't I kill to stay alive if my life comes first? Chayecha koidmin.
The enemy one thing, the Jew is another fellow Jew is something else.
If my life comes first, why cannot kill the other person
One is
to stay
your
alive?
decision, and one is someone else's decision. One is imposed upon you,
Okay.
and one is not. One is you're on an equal footing.
Right.
If you have a canteen of water and it's yours,
Right.
Hashem said, if you have the water, it was meant for you.
Right.
Now, if someone comes to you and says, kill this person, that person is now interjecting and forcing you to do something. So it's a different scenario on the point of the basis. And therefore...
You're saying very good. Penina, right?
You didn't forget me.
Didn't forget you. Penina came all the way from Ashkelon to give the answer that Rashi gives. All the way from Ashkelon, a long way to give them. Beautiful. See that? Yosef,
I
you know
need to hear your class, Rabbi Sprecher, not only on your recording, but I needed to come to a live.
It's better live.
It's better live.
The jokes are better live. Where was I? So that's what, but Penina said, Rashi says in Sanhedrin, the canteen of water, am I killing him? It's my canteen. Who is killing him? God is killing him. The halacha said, it's my canteen, I have to drink it. It's mine. He doesn't have the water, right? So Hashem said he shouldn't have the water. I have to drink it. But here, I'm actively killing another person. That you can't do. To actively become a murderer, Rashi said, to become a murderer, a double tragedy. A human being is dead, another human being becomes a murderer. When I drink the canteen, a human being has to die. Who decides who has to die? Hashem does. Allah said that I have to drink the water. Am I killing the other guy? Like Bedin said, no. So one tragedy, a human being has to die. Here, there's a double tragedy. A human being has to die, another human being has to become what? An active murderer. That we cannot allow. A double tragedy. And therefore, If someone says, kill another person, I'll kill you, you're not allowed to kill the other person. A double tragedy. A human being is dead, another human being becomes what? A murderer.
But that same reasoning goes for a terrorist, or if you're in war. If God wants you to survive a war, you'll survive. If God wants you to survive a terrorist attack, you'll survive.
But you have to do ishtadlut. You can't ein samchen ala nes. You have to do whatever has to be done. Right? There is a inyan of Mechemet Mitzvah, a holy war, where the Torah obligates the soldier on the front to give up his life to save others. That's the whole concept of Mechemet Mitzvah. And that's why Lubavitcher Rebbe said that every soldier in the IDF is doing Mechemet Mitzvah 24/7. He's doing a mitzvah, a holy war mitzvah, 24/7 around the clock.
So, Rabbi, if a Jewish soldier sees a grenade thrown in front of him and he's got members of his unit, and he throws himself on
That's what Major Roy Klein did in Lebanon War.
is that suicide?
That's exactly, no. That's the whole point. When you're a soldier in combat fighting a war, then there's a whole different ball game. What we're talking about here is a civilian in peacetime, and we'll see soon the source. But a soldier in wartime, that's what war is all about. Unfortunately, that's what war is all about. But when you're not allowed to give up your life to save somebody, that's a civilian in peacetime.
What if in times of the Holocaust, Nazis surrounded small villages? He said, listen, if you don't give us the rabbi, I'm going to kill you.
Don't steal my thunder.
And what happens if you
Penina,
don't?
he wants
What
to
happens if you don't go on the
I knew we were heading there, but...
We're heading there. Okay, don't rush me.
rabbi?
Don't rush me. Let's go now to answer David's question. Look at source number 3. This is very unbelievably tragic situation. The Mishnah and the Holot. You have it, source number 3, David? If a woman is in terrible labor, and the fetus is threatening the life of the mother, what are you supposed to do, Yosef? It's too tragic for me to read it. You want to read that, source number 3?
You gotta cut the baby.
One cuts up the child in the womb of the mother, and brings it out piece by piece, because her life comes before the life of the fetus. What? I thought you're not allowed to give up one life to save another, Chava. I'm all confused here. What right do you have to kill the fetus to save the mother? But that's the halacha.
But the fetus is the rodef.
Oh, you guys are ahead of me today. The fetus has a din like a rodef. How do you say that in English?
A murderer.
A pursuer.
Pursuer.
Even though the fetus doesn't know anything. But the fetus is actively threatening the life of the mother. When someone is a pursuer, all bets are off. You're supposed to take out the pursuer to save the pursued. You hear what's going on over here? But, so here, this fetus that's unborn, is threatening the life of the mother, has a din like a rodef. And you're supposed to take out the rodef to save the nirdaf. But, if the greater part of the baby has come out, the greater part of the baby has come out of the womb, and the mother's life is still threatened, what happens then, Chava? Source 3.
You take out the baby.
One may not touch
One
it,
may not kill.
for one may not set aside one person's life for that of another. Now I'm all mixed up. You just told me that the fetus is what? A pursuer, and therefore you can kill the fetus to save the mother, but yet, if the majority of the baby came out, then you're not allowed, and the mother's life is still being threatened, then you're not allowed to what?
So you treat
Harm the baby. Why not?
Because then its life is equally viable.
Penina, you're ahead of me. Because, you know what she said? She said, now we don't know who the rodef is. If the child is already born, or most of the body is already born, we don't know who's pursuing whom. Now it's maybe the mother is threatening the life of the child, as long as the child is still inside the womb. So we say the child is the pursuing the mother, and you take out the pursuer to save the mother, the pursued. But if the baby is already born, then you're not allowed to do anything, because what? We don't know who's pursuing whom now. Now it's up to Hashem.
What is happening spiritually there? How could one flip? It's such a flip of events, almost like polar differences. What is happening here? One is all of a sudden a tzaddik and a Russian, a tzaddik.
Right, what's going on over here?
Really, there seems like there's a deeper Inyan.
I've
never...
Okay, let's talk about, there's a famous case this was written down by Osheri, from the book Ben HaMeitzar. Lo Yeleni, these Jews were hiding in an attic, and the Nazis were looking for them. And one of the ladies had a little baby. And the baby began to cry in the attic, Benjamin. The baby began to cry. Now, if the baby keeps crying, what happens? The Nazis will find them. So one of the people in the attic smothered the baby. He smothered the baby. Because if the baby were crying, they would all been dead. There's a whole group of them up there, all been dead. So after the war, he felt terrible. He couldn't live with himself. He went to Rav Osheri. You can read this in Min HaMeitzar book, Tales of Auschwitz, where Jews ask questions. He couldn't live with himself. He said, Rabbi, I killed a little baby. What kind? He says, you did what had to be done. He quoted this Mishnah in chapter 3, in source number 3, the crying baby in the attic, hiding with a group of Jews from the Nazis. That little baby never had a din like what? I wrote that even though the little baby didn't know anything. But the fact that the baby was crying, he was jeopardizing the whole group. So Nebuch lo yaleinu, the halacha said in such a case, Benjamin, you're permitted, perhaps even required, to kill the little baby. Because there, the baby was, even though he didn't know what he's doing, but by crying, he's jeopardizing the whole group, and that's a din rodef. And the rabbi said that you don't need a kapara. You don't need a kapara. Because in such a case, you don't say that you can't kill one to save the other, because in this case, the crying baby was like actively pursuing and giving up the hiding place, even though the baby didn't know what he's doing. But this is the halacha that the person, what he did, he was justified in doing. Otherwise, the whole group, Avram, would have been what? Killed.
That goes for an adult as well. An adult who gives away your hiding place.
That's right. That's right. An adult also. But look at source number 4. Source number 4, Avram, you have that? Sanhedrin. One came to Rava and asked him, the governor of my town ordered me, go and kill so-and-so. If not, I will what? Kill you. So can I do it, Rabbi? He said, let him rather kill you, that you should not commit murder. Who knows that your blood is redder? Perhaps, Avram, source number 4, perhaps his blood is redder. How do you know who's more precious to God? Every human being is a precious soul to God. So you cannot kill A to save your life unless A is what, Yosef? Threatening you. Even though he doesn't know what he's doing, the crying baby became a rodef, and therefore in such a case it's permitted, perhaps even obligated, to take him out, lo yaleinu, to save the group. But if the other guy is not threatening you, he's an innocent bystander, then you're not allowed to what? Kill him to save yourself, even though my life comes first. But Panina said, that's when I'm not actively killing him. But by killing another person, there's a double tragedy. A human being is dead, another human being becomes what? A murderer, and that we can't allow, yes?
You said before it was permitted for the IDF soldier to go on the hand grenade.
Yes.
And what if he doesn't do it? Is he guilty of murder?
No, only if he's guilty of murder. He's not guilty of murder. Then he's out there to sacrifice his life.
And if he chooses not to?
If he chooses not to, I don't know. Maybe get court-martialed, I don't know.
It's not going to be
No.
I don't know.
Maybe
I don't know.
it's an act of heroism beyond...
Right? I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, look at source number 5 to get to David's question. Source number 5. For this reason, why was a human being created? Why did God, Avram, did God create one Tony the tiger and one Elsie the cow? Remember Tony the tiger, Elsie the cow? God created all species of tigers, all species of cows, right? Why is human being unique? In source number 5, human being was created what? Alone. Not a whole herd of tigers or elephants or buffaloes. Why is human being created alone? Why, Avram? Source number 5, why? To teach that whoever destroys a single soul
It's as if.
What? Scripture imputes guilt to him as though he had destroyed a complete world. And whoever saves a single human being, Scripture considers it as though he had preserved the entire world. Each person is a universe unto himself. Each person is a world unto himself. And therefore, the human being, unlike Tony the Tiger, was created what? As an individual instead of what? A whole herd at the time, okay? Now we get to David Harrell's question, source number 6. David, you see that? Source number 6?
Yes.
Non-Jews, Nazis said to a group of people, give us one of you to be killed or we will what? Kill all of you. Avram. Loyalenu, all must be killed rather than surrender a single person. However, if they specified one person, they named somebody, then Sheva ben Bichri, we see it's not so simple either, then he shall be handed over rather than they should all be killed. But that's only if the person Sheva ben Bichri, we see soon, he was guilty of being a morid b'malchus. How do you say that, Avram, in English? A morid b'malchus. He was a traitor to King David, so he was chayiv mitah. So if they mention somebody's name and that person is chayiv mitah on the Jewish law, then you're allowed to hand him over. But if he's not chayiv mitah on the Jewish law, even if they name a name, you're not permitted to what? Hand him over.
There were rabbis that said, take me
Yeah.
to save the people of the town. They said, take me, kill me, it's okay, because he's saving so many lives.
So we'll talk about that.
In other words, he's already allowing himself to be killed.
Yeah.
If you could
So
believe
that,
them.
you know, what?
If you could believe them anyway, that's number one.
Right.
That's a big problem.
In the Vilna ghetto, the Nazis told Jacob Gens, the head of the Vilna ghetto, if you don't hand over Yitzchak Wittenberg to us, we will annihilate the entire ghetto, every man, woman, and child, thousands. So of Jacob Gens, he didn't know what to do. He went to the rabbi in Vilna, and the rabbi in Vilna said, let's go to source number 9. Let's go to source number 9, Avram. And with tears in his eyes and a shaking voice, the rabbi of Vilna told Jacob Gens, source number 9, Avram. If idolaters said to people, give us one of you to be killed, or we will kill all of you, Le'aleinu, all must be killed rather than surrender a single person. However, in the circumstances when they said, give us such a person, if they name somebody, if that person who they name is liable for capital punishment on the Jewish law, is a criminal, like Sheva ben Bichri, then what? Then you can hand them over. But Yitzchak Wittenberg was not liable for, he didn't do anything. But they were not advised to do so unless he was proven guilty of a capital crime. But if the person they specify, Avram, like Yitzchak Wittenberg, is not guilty of a capital crime, then they should all be killed rather than what? Sacrifice a single soul.
So what happened?
So what happened is that Yitzchak Wittenberg went voluntarily. And the ghetto survived a few more months, but it was liquidated anyway. So by giving up his life voluntarily, Avram, he bought the ghetto a few months of life, and perhaps during those few months, some Jews were able to what? Escape. So, you're not allowed to hand over anybody. He asked the halacha, and the Rav told him this, unless the person they ask for, Avram, is guilty of a capital crime. But if he's not, like Wittenberg was not guilty of any capital crime, he's not permitted to be handed over. But this guy, he went himself. He was a hero and he went himself. And by doing that, he'd be killed anyway. He'd be killed anyway, right? But by going himself, Miriam, he bought the ghetto a few precious months of time, which perhaps some people were able to escape during those few months. So,
is there a deep question that could be asked?
Yeah.
Would that maybe beyond the scope of the class?
What?
Can I go for it or no?
Let me just give you a case of what took place in Lakewood, New Jersey in the year Tovshin Lamed Zayin, 5737. How many years ago was that, Chava? I'm not so good in math. We're now in 5779. In Lakewood, New Jersey in 5737.
Like 1977.
Okay. There were Siamese twins were born to a Haredi couple in Lakewood, New Jersey, in the Kailo. Listen to this. And these Siamese twins, between them, did not have two complete hearts. There was a heart and a half. And a heart and a half shared the two little babies. Two little girl babies, Siamese twins. See this? And the one with the half a heart, she was getting her life from what? From her sister who had a complete heart. The doctor said, listen to this, Avram, that these two babies cannot survive this way. The only hope is to kill one of them, by cutting her away from the other one that had a complete heart. The one with the half a heart, you have to cut her away, otherwise both babies will what? Die. So if you do that, you're becoming a murderer. You're not allowed to kill A to save B. Are you allowed to kill one baby to save another? But on the other side, it's B'kuach Nefesh. Why is it B'kuach Nefesh from the other side? Because
Because the second one is eroding.
don't steal my thunder, okay? Now Moshe Feinstein, Zecher Tzadik Avracha, he has to say break the plates, Avram. So he ruled it's permitted to kill the little baby girl with a half a heart in order to save what? The sister with what? With the Leiv Sholem. Why? Because Ramosha Paskin, Mikivin Shatanoiket HaChalosha Roidefes Achar Shlema. The weak sister, the one that doesn't have a complete heart, she has a din like a rodef, even though she doesn't know what she's doing. She's like actively pursuing and killing her sister who has a complete heart. And therefore, this Nebuch, poor little baby, had a din like a rodef, and it's permitted to kill her. That's what Moshe Feinstein paskined. And when they heard that psak, they allowed the doctors to do that. So why is it not murder? Yael, why is it not murder? To rodef. That's what Moshe paskined. Even though she doesn't know what she's doing, but she didn't have a heart of her own. She was taking the life of the other sister, had a din like a rodef, so therefore the halacha would say that permitted to do that, to cut away her and let her die in order to save her sister. Unfortunately, that is. If you look at source number 7, who is the Sheva ban Bichri? You see source number 7. It's going back to the book of Samuel 20. Avram. You see source number 7?
Yeah.
What happened over there? They came and besieged the city, and this is the King David's army. They were looking for this rebel. They were looking for this rebel who rebelled against King David. The people were there. Then look at and what did the commander of the IDF at the time, Yoav? What did he say? Hand over this rebel, or what? We'll destroy the whole town. So verse 16, Avram. What happened? You see verse 16? You want to read that? Then cried a wise woman from the city, and what did she say? Listen to me. Hear ye, Isha Chachama. And she told, who was Yoav, the charge of the IDF at the time? Come in here, I'll speak to you. Verse 17. And when he came near her, the woman said, are you Yoav? And he answered, what? I am. Then she said, hear the words of your maidservant. And he answered, I hear. Verse 18. Then she spoke, saying, they want to speak in old times, saying, let them ask counsel. So they would have ended the matter. So what did she say in 19?
No collective punishment.
Right? You seek to destroy the whole city, the mother in Israel. Just because there's one rebel amongst us, you want to justify killing the whole city? So what does Joab answer in verse 20, Avram? Verse 20, what does he answer her? Huh? Joab answered and said, far be it from me that I should swallow up or destroy. Verse 21, the matter is not so, but a man of Mount Ephraim, his name is Sheva ben Bichri. He's lifted up his hand against what? The king, against King David. He's a rebel. And a rebel against the king is chayiv mitah, because he's a rodef. Anyone who rebels against the king has a din rodef. Deliver him only, and I will what? Leave the city. And the woman said to Joab, what did she say to him? What did she say to him, Avram? It's a brave woman. Behold, his head shall be thrown to you over the wall. Not off the wall, but over the wall. What happened? Verse 22, Yosef. Verse 22. Then the woman went to all the people in her wisdom, and they cut off the head of Sheva ben Bichri, and they threw it out to Joab, and he blew the shofar. Why did he blow the shofar for, Chava? The rebellion is over. And they retired from the city, and every man was safe. So you see, when there's a rodef, when they surround the city and they ask for a person, if the person is liable of a capital punishment, like this guy was, then you're obligated to what? Hand him over. You're not allowed to hand over one to save another. That's when the other person is an innocent bystander. But when the other person is what? A rodef. In this case, Sheva ben Bichri is a rodef because he was an active rebel against King David. So if the city protects him, then they're all actively involved in what? In the rebellion. If you give aid and comfort to terrorists, you become a terrorist yourself.
And that should set the precedent.
And you become a rebel yourself.
Shouldn't that set the precedence for collective punishment or not?
Well,
Let's say when there's terrorists and the people are hiding them, okay, I understand there's a fear factor involved, but...
that's what David asked before.
I mean,
That's
why
what
should
David
they-
asked before.
You can't be innocent and know where this guy is hiding and not...
That's right, then you become a rodef. If you protecting and giving aid and comfort to terrorists, you become a terrorist. So therefore, it's not the collateral damage. They're all terrorists. The terrorists couldn't do anything without the aid and comfort and support of those people supporting them. So they also become a din like a rodef. What about Yonah? Remember Yonah? They threw a lottery. Now these sailors, Chava, were righteous people. Righteous Gentiles, because they said they didn't want to kill an innocent person. Remember they made a lottery? And it came up Yonah, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
So what did Yonah say? Throw me overboard. Someone says, help me commit suicide. Are you allowed to? Are you allowed to?
He knew he was the culprit. in
So
the
what?
matter.
What right did they have to throw him overboard? They were righteous people.
He was the rodef.
Oh, beautiful, Yosef. Yonah had a din like a rodef. That's what the Or Sameach and others say, Avram. He is running away from Hashem. A Navi that runs away from Hashem after getting a Nevuah, he's chayiv mitah. A Navi who suppresses his Nevuah is chayiv mitah. So by being on the boat, he was actively endangering Miriam, everybody on the love boat. So therefore, he had a din like a rodef, and therefore the sailors were justified in what? Throwing him overboard. Had a din like a rodef, and a rodef, then all bets are off. Avram, a rodef, you don't say you're not allowed to kill A to save B. That's an innocent bystander. When it comes to a rodef, then someone who's actively threatening you, then you're supposed to take him out to save what? The nirdaf. There was a famous TV movie a few years ago, Avram. This a father and his, I think, 3 children went mountain climbing. Maybe you saw this movie? I think a father went mountain climbing, and they got stuck on the mountain. A father and 3 kids, and they're holding on to the rope. You listening? And the rope is beginning to fray. And I don't know how they filmed this. What's the name of the movie? Come, you can Google it. Famous movie. I saw it by Sam. famous movie, whatever it's called, Over the Ledge. How they filmed it.
When they make a movie, nobody's really in danger.
It looks so real. They're dangling on a mountain, and there's a chasm below, and the rope is fraying.
Is that
And it's not strong enough to hold all three.
Is that in the North Pole, something like that?
No, somewhere mountain climbing.
The father
The
jumps.
father is on the bottom holding the rope. So he says to them, cut me off. Because he's the dead weight. They three, they're much lighter. He's a big fat guy. And the father says, cut the rope, let me die and you'll save. They said, no, Dad, we can't do it.
To the son.
Dad, he said to the son, the other, was a son and a daughter.
Yes, I saw the movie.
So the movie, I don't know how to film that. He said, Dad, we're not going to do that. He keeps tugging on the rope. If you don't cut the rope, I'm going to pull it and we'll all get killed. And they said, we can't do it. We can't do it. And he keeps tugging on the rope to bring them all down. Finally, the son, what? Takes the knife and what? And cuts it, killing his own father. Was the son justified, Abraham, in doing that?
Didn't they have
That's the dilemma of the movie. Did the son kill his own father? Aryeh. I would say the father didn't like a road date because the father was actively pulling on the rope. If you don't cut me, I'm going to pull it all the way down. I'm a big fat guy, we're all going to die. He was forcing his son to what?
To do it.
To do it. And the son took the knife and cut it. And the rest of the movie deals how the son and the daughter, how they were freaking out, with
They were on
therapy.
an expedition up a mountain in the cold, and I know the movie. It's a good movie. Very good movie.
It's amazing.
Paul was at the end
He
of
was
the rope.
The father, at the end of the rope, was a big...
Why didn't he release himself?
No, they're all cut, they're all tied together.
He's the bottom.
He's the bottom, but they're all tied together. He didn't have a knife. The son above him had a knife. So he kept saying, cut me off. They said, Dad, we're not going to do it. And he kept pulling on the rope. And you see how it's jacking out of the mountain. So finally the son cuts the rope and the father dies and they survive. Raphael, does the son have a din like I'm killing his own father?
No.
I would say no. Here the father was actively tugging on the rope. The father had a din like a rodef, lo yaleinu.
He became a road.
Became a rodef, but he forced his son to what?
To make the decision.
To make the decision, and therefore absolving his son of any guilt. The father was such a tzaddik.
But wasn't he absolved?
Because if the father wasn't pulling on the rope, then the son couldn't do it.
Right.
You're not going to kill anybody, especially your own father, to save your life. You can't kill nobody to save your life. But to remove that dilemma, Avraham, what did the father do? The father became an actively rodef by tugging on the rope with all of his might, thereby forcing his son to make the right decision and absolving his son and daughter of any guilt.
The movie was called Vertical Limit.
Beautiful. I saw that movie. I couldn't sleep that
Vertical
night.
Limit.
How did they film that? I don't
Bill
believe how
Paxton
they...
was in the movie.
Who was in it?
Bill Paxton was in the movie.
You're right. How did they film it? Jessica, it looked like really that they're dangling on a mountain and there's a chasm below. How the hell did they film it? We get actors to do that. Couldn't pay me enough money to do
So
that.
he was acting as a rodef and a tzaddik, all wrapped up into one.
That's right. He
Go
was.
look at the
He became a
confusing-
rodef tzaddik, absolving his children of any guilt, thereby saving his children. Wow, wow.
Bill Paxton, Chris O'Donnell.
How do you know? What is Uncle Google? Uncle Google, what?
It's from 2000.
Uncle Google.
2000. It was from 2000.
What a movie. What a movie.
How do we
What?
understand Hashem doing all these things? Can you see this? Like this.
What's the plan, right? What's HaKadosh
Really?
Baruch Hu's plan, right? So we don't know,
That's
right?
confusion
Yeah,
more than anything else.
right. But if you look at source number 5 again, source number 5, why human being was created alone, that every human being, Avram, is what? A world unto himself. Every human being, so therefore, if they surround a city and ask for one human being, and there's 1 million people in the city, you're not allowed to hand over that person. If he's an innocent victim, he's not a pursuer, then all 1 million lo yalein will have to be killed, because no one can put a value on human life. Who said that your blood is what? more precious than the other person.
But maybe the world unto itself means all the good and bad that's contained in a world is contained in a person.
Yeah.
And different flashes of that will come out at different points in a person's life, and sometimes coexist within the same moment.
Nachon. Now I remember during the last Intifada, Avram, in Rishon LeZion, there was a person that stabbed, a terrorist. He stabbed a person, and the person's down on the ground, bleeding to death, and he's still running with the knife, with the bloody knife to stab other people. There's one guy pursuing the terrorist. What's his dilemma, Avram? Should he stop and help the bleeding victim? Or should he continue to pursue the terrorist who's going to kill more people with the knife in his hand? In Rishon LeZion. So I remember the guy jumped over the wounded lady to pursue the armed terrorist. Did he do right?
Yes.
He jumped over the wounded lady to pursue the armed terrorist to prevent him from killing more people. But by doing that, David, he let this poor lady maybe bleed to death. So what do you do in such a dilemma, Larry? What do you do? Do you treat the wounded, or try to stop him from killing more people when this lady still has a chance to make it if you stop and what? Try to stop her bleeding. What do you do? Yehuda, what do you do? I don't know, I'm asking you.
That happens in wartime.
Depends.
That happens in
Is there
wartime.
someone else? Is someone capable of pursuing this killer? Is someone capable
someone else
of saving?
If he's a medic and he knew that he could treat this lady, so I think the case would be, if he's a medic and he knew that perhaps he would have to stop pursuing and treat the lady. But if he's not a medic, he doesn't know what to do anyway, he might as well pursue.
Well,
Unfortunately, you have to go through all this and throughout Jewish history up until the present, Avram. The Jewish people have to live with such terrible moral dilemma that until today we're faced with these moral dilemmas. What?
There was a case last year where terrorists went into a grocery store
Right.
and stabbed the worker in the store, and then stabbed one of the customers.
Right.
The customer took the knife out of his throat and killed the terrorist. And then he called the ambulance to treat the store worker, and he saved his life also.
He saved his life also. Quick thinking, right? But every human being has a godly soul, but a person can give up that godly image by becoming what? A murderer, a terrorist. He loses his divine image.
But
He
how
loses
does that
divine what?
happen? What I don't understand in this whole concept, and you'll excuse me, and I know this is probably a question that maybe there is no answer to in this world at this juncture.
Right.
If there is Selam Elokim,
Right.
and Selam Elokim could only be good. Coverages, supposedly all the evil is covers.
But
How does that happen that there could exist this evil?
Free will.
Not free will, okay, but
God gave human being free
but
will to
wouldn't that
choose
mean
between
that
right
Hashem
and
has the
wrong.
capacity of evil? Because if it's free will that emulates Hashem, where is the free will, God forbid, that Hashem has? It's almost implying that Hashem is evil in him.
Chas v'shalom.
And chas v'shalom.
Right.
I'm saying, and
You're not the
chas
first one that's
v'shalom.
asked this question.
But
Of course not. Of course
God
I'm not. Of course I'm not. But
gave a human being free choice. And God knew he's taking a risk. God knew he's taking a terrible gamble. But he said, what can I do? I have to make man with free will. If he's not free will, then he's a robot. Then he's a puppet. And I don't want puppets, I want partners for Tikkun Olam. In order for a human being to be God's partner in Tikkun Olam, Avram, God has to give him what? Total free choice. And yes, even if it means to become evil. Otherwise the world has no what? Purpose. God doesn't want robots. He doesn't want puppets. He wants partners. And that forced God to do this choice, to give man the choice to become good or evil.
it's like totally antithetical to him. It's almost like the whole downside of what we see in this world, all the evil
Right.
in this world.
The evil's
which is
created
saying-
by man. That's the chance that God took by creating the world. If there was no evil, how do you know what good is? You have to have that contrast. Don't you have that contrast? To appreciate good, there has to be a chance, what?
For there to be
For the evil. Otherwise, you can't appreciate what good is.
But-
If you don't know what darkness is, Yosef? Can you appreciate the light? If you don't know what darkness is, can you appreciate the light? So if you don't know what evil is, how do you appreciate good? There has to be this contrast. There has to be this choice.
But in darkness,
In order to give me free will. Otherwise, I'd be a puppet, a robot, and God needs partners, not puppets or robots. We have to help God in Tikkun Olam.
For more of Rabbi Sprecher's teachings, visit rabbisprecher.com.